Hey YouTube, welcome back to UniXTCG, and today we are actually going to go over one of the new decks coming out of set 4 that's a little less played, but I think it's actually really interesting in terms of what it does, the effects, the interactions, and that is going to be Blue Yellow Queen. So strap yourselves in. We're about to talk about a deck that's actually pretty big brain, but I think it has a much smaller margin for error, and that's why it's a little harder to play. It doesn't have as much success as some of the other decks, but it still can get there. It's a very interesting concept. So if you guys are looking for something that's a little off meta, but still able to roll with the big boys, you've come to the right place. Past that, I just wanted to say, as per usual, if you like the video so we can get as many likes as possible. Any of these guys that reach over 100 likes, we're just gonna immediately jump into the gameplay for it on the sim. Otherwise, we'll wait till the actual set comes out and we can do it in person. After that, I am trying to get 5,000 subscribers, and we are so close. We are realistically only about 100 subscribers away, so yeah, if you haven't joined the Unix fam yet, now may be the time. So let's actually jump into the main content, and then after that, we'll have an ad from Mystic TCG, only the best sponsor you could possibly ask for. And yeah, then I'll see you in the next video. So let's start. So first and foremost, we have Queen. Queen is a 4-life blue-yellow leader that says Donquixote, when attacking, if the total number of cards in your life in hand is 4 or less, draw 1 card. Then, if you have a character with a cost of 8 or more, you may place 1 card from the top of your deck onto your life pile instead of drawing 1 card. So this is actually pretty decent. When it says if the cards in your life in hand are 4 or less, this is a combination. You could be at 3 cards in life, but only 1 card in hand, and swinging with this leader, Donquixote, is going to give you a draw. Or you could be at less, like you could be at like 2 cards in life, 2 cards in hand. As long as it's 4 or less, you're gonna draw that card. Now with an 8-cost character, that's actually very interesting, because let's say you have a flooded board and you have 3 life, but you draw for a turn, you have 1 card in hand, you could Donquixote and go back up to 5 life with this card if you are, at 1 card in hand. 0 cards in hand, 4 cards in life, or if you had 3 cards in life and 1 card in hand when you swung, you're gonna be able to do that. So this has a lot of cool effects and little interactions. The most important thing to note about this leader is that not only can this leader heal, but you're going to be able to put a lot of triggers into your life, which is why some of the next few cards you're going to recognize from other decks that need to set up the top card of their deck, like Doflamingo. So moving forward, you've got Piranha, another integral card to this deck. You guys should know her if you're a set 1 player or if you are playing against Dofi, but at 1 cost that's going to look at the top 5 cards of your deck and rearrange them in any order. Using this, you'll be able to put triggers on top of your deck to then Donquixote with your leader and swing, and then put those triggers into your life, constantly assuring yourself for the most part that every time that your opponent swings into your life, you're going to be getting a beneficial effect. The next card I have here, because lots of the crucial cards that you see in almost every deck list are triggers, you've got Charlotte Brule. She is just a blocker that comes from life, but by the time your opponents proc Brule, they've probably already committed to the play of the turn, so sometimes it can really get in there for a crucial stopping turn. If they have to play something to destroy Brule, then chances are they don't have as much Dawn that they would normally have to press you for that turn. So Brule is just a really good blocker to have. Next we got Doflamingo. This is his this art has always got me to laugh. But he's just another blocker, which is important for this deck that can go dangerously low on life before sponging itself or springing itself back up. The deck is spongy, but it will spring itself back up in life. Now Doflamingo right here is also going to look at the top 5 cards. Again, this is crucial for putting your cards on top of your deck that you want to draw into, the cards on top of your deck that you want to put into your life as triggers, all very important. The next one is another trigger card. This one's coming out of set 4. You've got Capone, Bege. Basically, trigger up to 1 of your opponent's leader or character cards cannot attack during this turn. So when your opponent swings optimally and they trigger the Capone Bege, this is just a super good defensive card, because you can just point at something that's a threat and be like, no. This is 100% a stall card, and it is amazing. The next card we've got going for us is again another set 1. This is a Boa Hancock. She is both a blocker and potentially a swinger, but Dawn X1, when attacking or when blocking, you draw 1 card if there are 5 or less cards in your hand. Since you're going to be keeping a low enough hand because you want to be able to gain life and put cards into your trigger, Boa's almost always going to be a draw. And when you combine her with the fact that she can stay on board after blocking or not block, you know, you take a damage, and you can do things like Perona or Doflamingo, look at your top 5. Okay, I want this card, so I'm going to Dawn up Boa and swing with her, draw that card. Then the second card I made sure was a trigger, so I'm going to now Dawn X1 on my leader, swing in, put that card into my life, and bam, just like that, you've set up your perfect draws and triggers into life. That's very, very good. The following card is a new card that comes out of set 4 as well. This is just Sanji. You may trash 1 card from your hand and play this card. He's a 5k blocker. The stats are just generally good. 4 cost and 5k means he can be destroyed by anything. He doesn't have any particularly better effects, but he is a just blocker that can come from your life, just like Brûlé, and that's very, very important for this deck that can just put cards into their life pretty handedly. The next card you got is Sogeking, because outside of this deck doing its thing with the triggers, it's a grind deck. You're putting cards in your life so you can gain advantage. Your opponent has to inevitably try to kill you, but at the same time, you need to slow down your opponent to be able to safely get to that life total where you can start abusing Queen's effect, which is why you're going to see a lot of good stun cards in this deck. Sogeking is a 7 cost, 6k, not that great an attack, but that's in character, and he's going to remove something or bounce something to the owner's hand that costs 6 or less, draw 2, trash 2. So in reality, he's just a pretty good card for this deck. And remember, he's returned up to 1 character, so you can even return your own characters, which can potentially be good combo plays with cards like Kaya and whatnot. Then you've got Katakuri. Once again, Katakuri is a giant beat stick. He is going to be able to bounce something to somebody's life, but most importantly, he is an 8 cost, which means once he's on the field, you can start healing instead of drawing with the leader's effect. Following that, we've got Mihawk. Mihawk is just very, very, very strong, being able to put something 7 or less down to the bottom of the owner's deck, and being a 9 cost. That means he's going to set off the effect of the Queen as well. And then the last character card that we're going to talk about is Yamato. Yamato is going to be able to, when she comes on board, she's a SR from OP02, or sorry, OP04. On play, KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost that is equal to or less than the total of you and your opponent. Total life. So if you guys both have 4 life, Yamato can destroy an 8 cost card. But generally, by the time you get to play this, you're probably destroying something 5 or 6 maybe, and that's actually pretty cool. Then if you have 1 or less life, you may add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to your life area. This is the insane part. The fact that you can Perona, potentially, and then play this card, or even better yet, like, let's say you have a low hand, which in this deck isn't really that hard to do, and you're at 1 life, and you play this Yamato, blow out something on your opponent's side of the board, because maybe they have 3 life and you have, 4 life, or 1 life. So they have 3 life, you have 1 life, you play this card, and you blow up something 4 or less, which is a pretty decent cost. Then you put a Dawn under Queen and you swing, and you have 1 card, 2 cards in life, and 2 cards in hand or something like that. So then you are just able to, bang, you have 4 total, and you gain another life, and now all of a sudden you're back at 3 life when you started the turn at 1 life. That's a very, very, very crazy swing of momentum, and it's very interesting too. So yeah, then we've actually got Buzzcut Mochi. Isn't in all the lists, but this is a set 3 card. Main, if you have less life than your opponent, KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with the cost of 4 or less. Easy to do in Queen because you go low on life very early, and then you fluctuate. Trigger, play up to 1 character with 4 or less with trigger from your hand. That can be done very easily because Queen is stock full on triggers. And then you've got 3,000 Worlds. 3,000 Worlds, you guys should all know from this set, one of Blue's best cards from set 3 coming out. 4 cost, place up to 1 character with a cost of 5 or less at the bottom of its owner's deck, and the trigger is a 3 or less character at the bottom of somebody's deck. You're going to be casting this to help stun. You're going to be putting this in the top of your life so that when they swing into it, things happen. Very, very, very good card. And then the final card we're going to talk about is Gum Gum Red Rock. Basically a souped up version of this. 6 costs, return a character to the bottom of its owner's deck. No cost limit. This is monumental for blue. This is one of the best cards blue could have ever gotten, and they didn't attach it to a body because that might have been a little too strong, but this card can bounce 10 drops. 10 drop Big Mom, nope. Tap 6, keep put it at the bottom of the deck, keep it going. Very, very, very great card. And the triggers return up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less at the bottom of its owner's deck. That is also going to be just very, very good in general. We're going to be able to have a lot more removal with blue. And yeah, so these are the cards that are most commonly seen in blue, yellow, queen. I'm going to roll the Mystic TCG ad real quick so you guys can see the best place to get your sealed product for One Piece or any other card game that you play, as well as their TCG player link, the Facebook where you can sell your own collection. So just take a peep at that, and we're going to come back, tie up the video, and talk about this deck a little more. So let's talk about Mystic TCG, your one-stop shop for all your TCG needs. On the site, you can buy or pre-order plenty of sealed product for plenty of games. Just make sure though, if you're pre-ordering, to give it 3 to 4 months in advance to start looking, because sometimes the product is indeed hot, supply and demand, And then if you want to buy singles, go on tcgplayer.com. There's going to be a link in the description where you can buy for the best value. And if you want to sell cards or collections, you can message them on their Facebook site so you can get the best bang for your buck on any type of way you want to buy or sell cards. And then while you're at it, you can use the code UNIXTCG at checkout to get even more of a discount. So hey, what are you waiting for? Check out Mystic TCG today. So as you guys can see, this deck kind of has a cool, calm, collected theme. Queen's ability does not work until you are either very low on hand or very low on life with a medium size to low hand. Therefore, the first part of the game is really controlling your opponent's board, using cards like Red Rock, using cards like Thousand Worlds, using, like blockers to make sure that you don't take too much damage. You take enough damage to get your effects off, but you don't start taking damage that'll kill you too early in the game. Then once you're at full cylinders, you are using the cards like Doflamingo and Perona to stack your top deck so that you can use cards like Queen and Yamato to stack your life in the advantageous ways. There are going to be plays where in a turn you may use Doflamingo blocker or Perona to set up your top 5, and then knowing that top 5, you could go Dawn X1 on Queen, put that top card into your life, which is a trigger. Next turn, you're going to draw for turn. Then you're going to play Yamato. And Yamato, you're at the correct amount of life to put a card from the top of your deck onto the top of your life, which is going to be another trigger if you saw it in those top 5. Then you can Dawn X1 and play Swing with Queen and do it again. All depending on how aggressively you counter out of attacks to keep that hand size low in correlation with your life. And I think that's actually really cool, because once this deck gets to about 2 or 1 life, it stays alive for a very, very long time. If you can't deal more than 3 damage to it in the same turn, it is likely not going to die, because the very next turn it's going to go 1 to 2 life, especially with that Yamato. It's a very, very, very interesting deck, and I am interested to see if it's going to see more play here than Japan. Generally in the global meta, we like to be a little more punchy. We have a lot more of the aggro decks on site, but Queen, I think, operates very, very well. And I think a lot of people are very excited to have decks that don't just do the same thing they've seen for most of One Piece so far. Set 2 at least, and set 3 as well, which is just the overly aggressive, punchy type decks. Whereas Queen is a control deck with a fun gimmick. And so maybe we will see that, maybe we won't. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I want to know if you are a fan of Blue Yellow Queen and what you intend to play next set. Like I said, if we get this video to 100 likes, we will then move on to gameplay. And yeah, any of the other ones. If you go back, get those to 100 likes, it will happen. Like I said, going for 5K subscribers, and I think we're on our way. Hopefully, fingers crossed, got some really good news to show you guys. And I'll see some of you guys in Florida into this week for the next regional. So thanks. I'll see you guys later.